Hey ladies, this is Karen from Karen Wilson Natural Beauty, and this is week 8 of the Grow Out Challenge. So you can take a look. My hair is growing. Next week I'll do a length check for you, so I'll pick my hair out so that you can really see how long it's growing, but it has grown considerably since January 1st. But we are going to continue to talk about hair color. Last week we talked about rinse or temporary color, and again what that does, it just coats the hair strand. Today we're going to talk about demi-permanent and semi-permanent color. So demi-permanent color, it has no ammonia, it has a little bit of peroxide. So what the peroxide does, it opens the hair cuticle to allow some of the color to sit inside of the hair, some. So that is what the demi-permanent does. So of course a demi-permanent lasts longer than a rinse. It washes out in anywhere from 8 to 12 shampoos, sometimes longer. But a demi-permanent is also very good for covering gray, much more so than a rinse. So a demi-permanent, because it has a chemical in it, because it has peroxide in it, if you want to cover your gray, and particularly if you want to cover your gray at the hairline, which is a lot of what my customers want to do, you can just put that demi-permanent right at the hairline. You don't have to put it all over because it does have peroxide in it. It may lead to dryness and sometimes frizziness by the lifting of that hair cuticle, but it will help to elongate the length of time that the color will cover your gray hair. So a demi-permanent is another coloring option for you as well. So, okay ladies, let's talk about permanent hair color. Permanent hair color. Permanent hair color has both peroxide and ammonia. So permanent hair color is what you would use to lift that hair color. So if you have dark hair and if you want to go blonde or gold or honey blonde, you would use permanent color. Now, in terms of how I feel about permanent color, I don't recommend it a lot for natural hair, particularly if you are new to natural hair. Because when you're new to natural hair, you really don't know your hair. Your natural hair is typically dry. So permanent hair color, because of its lift, because of the chemicals in it that actually lift your cuticle and the color is deposited deep within the hair shaft, that also dries out your hair. It strips your hair of its natural proteins and moisturizes, making your hair very dry. So if you're new to natural hair, stay away from it. You have to get to know your natural dry hair first before putting a chemical in it. But even if you do put a chemical in it, you have to know how to take care of it. It's going to require extra moisture, even more moisturizer than what you're using now. It's also going to require that you deep condition your hair a lot. But even with all of that, with permanently colored hair, I've seen it time and time again, it leads to dryness, dry, brittle hair. I had a client that came in recently. She had her hair dyed, so she asked me to totally cut her hair off. This is a picture of her. This was her hair. It was dyed. She loved the color, but it was just dry out. It felt brittle, no moisture, so I had to cut it off. But I see that a lot, very, very often in my business as a stylist. I see it a lot where women, they get their hair dyed because they like that new sassy funky color, but it dries their hair out and they have to start over. So I caution you, if you are going to get your hair permanently colored, be sure that you first have a professional stylist do it versus doing it yourself. And second, make sure that your stylist gives you instruction on how to take care of your hair when you're home. And you have to maintain regular styling visits to maintain the color, meaning to get it treated, to get protein treatments, also to get deep treatments so that your hair doesn't totally dry out. Okay, so next week we are going to talk about henna. Henna. That's a plant-based color. A lot of people with natural hair will stay away from synthetic colors and use henna, and we'll talk about why next week.